Welcome to the Build Your Private Practice podcast, a space for Canadian therapists who want to support others, make an impact, and build a sustainable practice that works for them too. I'm your host, Leanne Wood, a registered psychotherapist, group practice owner, and business mentor, and I'm here to help you build a private practice that allows you to keep doing the work you love without burning out. Because the people who need your help the most are counting on you, and you deserve a practice that supports you while you support them. Let's dive in. Hi there. Before we jump into today's episode, let me take a moment to introduce Clinic Sites, a platform that helps mental health therapists build their website, boost their SEO, and stay consistent on social media. If building a website has been on your to-do list for a little too long, I get it. It can feel overwhelming, but with their AI-powered design and integration with Jane, Clinic Sites makes it incredibly easy to create a clean and professional website in under 60 seconds. They also offer SEO services to help people find your practice on Google and done for you social media posts to keep your practice active online without having to think about it every week. And the best part is you're never doing it alone. Their support team is there for you with real human help, whether you have a quick question or need a bit of extra guidance. Head to clinicsites.co to learn more about Clinic Sites or book a demo. And don't forget to use my code BYPP1MO at sign up for a free month on your website. Well, welcome back to the Build Your Private Practice podcast. I'm so glad you're here. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by the idea of building or updating your therapy website, you are not alone. Your website isn't just a digital business card, it's often the first place potential clients interact with your practice, and the first place they decide whether or not to take that next step. But too often, we either overthink it or avoid it altogether. And that's why I'm so excited for today's conversation. I'm joined today by Matt Morrison, founder of Clinic Sites, a website platform designed specifically for healthcare practitioners. Matt and his team have made it simple for therapists to build beautiful, effective websites that integrate seamlessly with Jane app and help attract, connect, and convert potential clients without spending hours fighting with tech or hiring expensive designers. In today's episode, we're talking about why your website is such a critical part of building a sustainable private practice, what actually matters when it comes to design and content, and how Clinic Sites helps therapists simplify the entire process. Matt, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Leanne.
Wonderful. Well, let's start with kind of a big picture question. I'd love it if you could share a little bit with our community about what inspired you to create Clinic Sites and why you chose to focus specifically on healthcare providers and therapists.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have been building websites for, I guess, over 17 years now. I actually originally started in the nonprofit space, was
Mhm.
helping with nonprofits across Canada, many in the United States, and actually originally built a website platform there, and then had the amazing opportunity of actually having that company acquired a number of years ago.
Okay.
And after the acquisition, there was actually an opportunity where we actually knew a couple of friends who I think we're going to talk about in a minute who had started up an amazing EHR. And
Mhm.
so out of that, saw kind of a neat opportunity where we had this incredible business right next to us growing. We realized we had this platform that was always intended to be very easy to edit and easy to use. And so kind of saw a really neat kind of moment happening here where we could connect with this company that was growing like crazy, and all of a sudden we're like, well, what if this could work for them as well? And so
Mhm.
throughout that, it's been an incredible experience to kind of dive more into this space and really come alongside so many health practitioners who
Mhm.
honestly, like you're saying, have kind of struggled with that the challenge of okay, I'm great at what I do, but this all this technical stuff feels super overwhelming to me. And so there was really this amazing kind of meeting of these two needs that led to this great opportunity.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I love to hear more about your story, and I'm sure that we will as we go through this chat here today. When you're thinking about healthcare practitioners and therapists in particular, and thinking about the websites, why do you think it is that the website is such a critical piece for growing a private practice?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually heard you talk a little bit about this on your podcast in earlier episodes, and I think you're spot on that there's just this reality that we don't often get the opportunity for a handshake, right away when we're
Mhm,
meeting a new patient or potential patient. It's the reality that this online presence is actually the first moment. That's where we're all kind of up late at night, or we're dealing with some kind of problem. And that Googling moment is the first opportunity where we're out there looking for a practitioner to help us. And so the reality is that before anyone ever gets to meet you or talk to you or get to know you, the website is actually the person there meeting them, answering their questions, trying to help them determine whether or not you're the right fit for them, whether or not that's where you're located, the specific types of services you offer, whether that's going to like really connect with the specific problem they're dealing with. And so the reality is this whole moment happens prior to ever getting to meet you in person. And the job of the website is to try and reflect you, who you are, the way you care about them. And so all of a sudden, you've got this technical barrier to really
mhm,
introducing yourself and bringing the right first impression to that potential patient. And so it's this really unique thing where, okay, healthcare practitioner, you are now given this technical challenge, and you have a couple options, which is you can either do it yourself, which can feel very
mhm,
overwhelming to many. You can spend a whole lot of money paying someone to say, "Don't worry about this. We're going to take care of the whole thing for you. It's just going to cost you $5,000 or $10,000." Or maybe there's this middle ground, and I think that's really where clinic sites wanted to kind of meet that need. That maybe this doesn't
mhm,
have to be super expensive. Maybe this can actually be really affordable within your budget, and we can
mhm.
still accomplish all the same things and kind of creating that amazing first impression.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, there's just so much, right, that is going into, the website. You talk about first impressions, but I'm also almost hearing you talk about the trust factor, right, coming in as people kind of go through your website and they start to see the services and the things that you offer, who you are, and so it's kind of, building that trust factor. I was trying to think of another word, but I can't think of another word for it,
Mhm.
right? It's just, cultivating trust from the beginning. And so that's like huge, I think. What do
Mhm.
you think are some of the most common mistakes that you see therapists make with their websites?
Yeah, so I want to add one little piece to that trust factor, and I think it leads
Yeah.
well into this next question, which is how helpful you are.
Mm,
And by that, I mean that I kind of have this philosophy that I think the very best websites answer the questions that our visitors are asking. And
mm,
there was this idea long ago that people just were going to come to our website and they were just going to have so much fun there, and we're going to make pages and pages, chapters and chapters of content for them to read through, and they're going to read every word before they finally make the decision to take the next step. The
yes.
reality is that none of us are on the web like that. None of us are trying to spend as much time as we can there. We are diving in to try and get the answers we need so that we can take the next step and move on. I mean, we all know how busy everyone is. And so the
Mhm.
reality is we don't have hours to spend. You have the odd, there's a small percentage of deep researchers out there, and you know who you
Yes.
are, that love to read every word, and that's great. And we want to make sure they have the answers they need too. But for most people, they're coming to your website with a question, which
Mm,
is, I'm dealing with intense grief right now. Is that something you can help me with? Or my relationship is in total crisis. Is that
mhm,
do you ever help people like that? Or maybe it's, hey, here's where I'm located, and I really want to see a counselor in person. Is this something where do you offer in-person appointments? And so there's any number of questions. So to speak to that specific question, what mistakes are they making? Is sometimes they
mhm.
put themselves first on the website, and it's all about me as the
Mhm,
healthcare provider. It's all about telling you all about how amazing I am, instead of maybe asking the question of what do you want to know about me, and putting yourselves in the shoes of the visitor to say,
mhm,
what questions are they asking when they land there? Because if I can answer those questions as easily as possible, your website will feel incredibly helpful, which guess what is a great first impression, because look how helpful you already are. I was
mhm,
wondering where you're located, and you've clearly offered that right in the first screen. I was wondering if you offered in-person versus virtual appointments, and there's that answer. I was wondering what your rates were. Maybe that's something, obviously that's for each person to decide where they want to post those things, but you can provide all those answers as fast as possible possible, so that they're like, yes, great, you do offer the specific type of counseling I'm looking for. You are located here. You do offer in person. And look at this, I can book right now. Like maybe, again, sometimes I say maybe the most obvious question is, are you free tomorrow? I am like in the thick of it right now. And my best counselor might not be the one who's closest to me, but might be the one who can see me the soonest. And so I feel like that opportunity to dive right in and book might be the thing they're looking for. So it's really about taking everything with your website, from the pages you choose to write, the content you write, even the decision of the menu items you put in your top bar. All
Mhm.
will allow that visitor to get there as fast as they can, because we're just trying to get the answers. And if anything feels complicated or frustrating, or, there's a term we used to use called mystery meat navigation, where people would try to get really creative with their navigation of their website. Be like, ooh, I don't want to say home and about and services and contact. I want to say landing spot. And my blog is going to be called The Journey. And all of a sudden, you end up with this really obscure navigation where no one actually knows what they're clicking when they get there. And so they're like, I guess I'm going to click on the journey and see what's under that mystery box. The reality is that creates a very frustrating experience for people when they don't know what they're getting. And so they're not going to have fun just roaming through the website. They're going to actually get frustrated, and they're going to probably click away and go find someone where they can really get to those answers quickly. So that would be, as far as like mistakes go, I would say overcomplicating it and really thinking of yourself first rather than putting yourself in the visitor's shoes.
I've never heard of that. What you were just talking about, these different names, but yeah, I think that that totally makes sense what you're saying. And I can see how it would be fun from a creative perspective, but I can also see what you're saying about, visitors getting a little bit frustrated by it.
Yeah, and there's lots of, I mean, all of this stuff with online when it comes to social media, website, there's lots of opportunities to be creative, but I think you want to be very careful where you choose those to be, because again, like I'm not trying to squash
No.
creativity here, and I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
so
yeah.
much of that is brand and identity that can come through, but to be careful where you do it. And I actually have a really interesting illustration here that I think represents this well, is that when you have a brick and mortar location and someone
Mhm.
walks through the front door and there's a big puddle on the ground and they slip on it, you're like, all right, we got to clean up that puddle because that person just fell. We don't always get that opportunity with the website. You
Mhm.
don't know when people are getting frustrated. So one suggestion I have is, if you're going through the process of building a new website or you've made a bunch of changes, you don't have that opportunity always to see where someone tripped and fell in that experience. So taking that moment when you have a new website to actually bring a friend up beside it, and don't guide them. Just say, can you just come to my website and can you pretend you were coming to book an appointment, or pretend you were coming to find out how it
Mhm.
looks. You can watch what they do, and you actually watch where their mouse goes and where they might all of a sudden have that moment where they're like, I don't know where I would click right now. And that's where you're like, okay, we've got a potential problem there. So
Right.
that can be helpful to just really get some actual live testing with your site.
Now, Matt, what like when I'm really looking at clinic sites, and one of the things that is really making it stand out to me is how easy it is to actually build your website, even if you're not tech savvy. And I know that it integrates so well with JNAP, but I'm wondering if you can give us a little demo or even a walkthrough of just how simple your process is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be so happy to. And do you want me to speak? I know we're going to talk a little bit about the Jada integration. Would this be a good opportunity to kind of introduce that? Because a few magical things are about
Absolutely.
to happen in the demo. That'd be work well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please do.
So, so obviously there's so much with a website now. The funny thing is, I think the space is all changing very fast. So with this, I would say, you really want to stay tuned, because I think with the release of AI and all these things, there's so many things that are moving a lot in the space. But the reality is that the fundamentals of a website have not changed a lot in the last 10 to 15 years. We're still looking to accomplish the same things. We're still trying to take care of our visitors just the same, the way we experience. I mean, the biggest change we saw before AI was the introduction of the mobile device, where all of a sudden all websites had to rethink everything they were doing to become mobile friendly, because we're seeing about half of all traffic is through a phone. Um,
Mhm.
so that said, what we're able to do with clinic sites that I'm so proud of is get you to a really good starting point very, very fast. This problem used to be massive as far as like, who's hosting your server, what are you coding it with, who's the person coding it. You've got to now hire them. They've got to come back to you with a proposal and all these pieces. And what I am so proud about what Clinic Sites has been able to do is that literally within 60 seconds, and we're going to see that in a minute here, we can actually have you looking at a starting point of your website. And from there, the world is endless as far as what we can do with it, how we can really transform it to make it your own. And the reality is that for some of you, you're going to be like, that's everything I need right there. That's perfect. I just want a basic website. I'm not here to blow anyone away with my, wildly creative design. And that's great too. And so we're going to look at that. We can talk a little bit about some of the options and what we can do with it. But one of the pieces
Mhm.
that was most exciting for us, we've talked about our connection with Jane here. And so
Yes.
the incredible relationship we built with Trevor and Ali and the team over there. We actually, from day one at Clinic Sites, built this integration where we realized that within Jane, you have everything you need to kind of build the foundational points of a website, which would be what's your logo? You've got that in Jane, your colors, your list of services you offer. If you have multiple practitioners, they're all there, your contact information. And so what we did was we said, well, what if we could just bring that over as a starting point? Let's bring over the logo, colors, contact info, services,
Mhm.
practitioners. And then to take that one step further, what we actually did as part of that integration was built it so that it syncs every day. So if you make any updates in Jane, you adjust a new logo and upload it, you move to a new address and change that, we're actually going to sync that over to your website. So as far as taking away the technical lift of these pieces for a
Mhm.
practitioner, I love that you don't have to think about managing things in multiple places where I have to go here and change it and here and change it and here and change it. Just to know that your website and your EHR are working together is a
Yeah.
really nice like technical weight lifted off. And so, yeah, basically what I can do here is I can show you how that would work with setting up a website, if that sounds good.
That sounds amazing.
Okay, awesome. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to share my screen here and just give me the thumbs up if you can see that.
Yep, we
Yeah,
can.
perfect.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm actually going to take one step back here and I'll just go back to so you can see how I got here because any one of you can do this as you're watching it. Basically, this is our website, clinicsites.co, and we just have this big start a site button right here. So if I
Mhm.
click through to that, we're going to go to this little see your free preview section. If you don't have a Jane account, that's completely okay. We're going to ask you a couple questions that's still going to get you into that starting point, and it's still going to be a great experience, and you have everything about it is still just as awesome. But there's this one little magical piece that if you do have a Jane account, I wanted to show you, which is that you can just click in here and just type in the name of your practice, and it's actually going to search the Jane database for it. I'm just going to grab a clinic here that's a friend of ours over in North Vancouver. And so we're going to press on this. And what it's going to do is it's immediately going to go into the platform. All of those technical steps we talked about, it's going to spin up a new instance of your organization on the server. It's going to choose from the different image sets we have based on your services, which one would probably be the right image set that would start with you. Again, just a starting point. You're welcome to and actually recommend that you go in and add your own images if you have those. That's a really great step. It's going to grab all that information I talked about from Jane, where it's going to pull in the practitioners and all those things we talked about earlier. Then, what it's going to do, and this is a really neat moment where we tapped into some of the magic of AI and actually, based on your services, based on your bio, based on your location, we actually go through and we write a whole bunch of drafted content. Again, this is not meant to be oh, I still want to write it myself. Absolutely. We want you to come in there and really make it your own. And then we're actually already ready. So I think I promised 60 seconds. I can't remember. It felt like we were pretty close to that here. So I'm actually ready now to click to see the free preview here. So this is actually the Jane account that I pulled that off of. Here's all the practitioners that they have there. And this is all the services they offer. So we're going to get a quick feel for what that looks like here. So if I click back into the free preview, based on that Jane account we just saw a moment ago, we can click in here, and this is actually the site that it created for them. So Village Physio, here's all the navigation items. Rediscover comfort, embrace movement, comprehensive physiotherapy, rehabilitation services in North Vancouver. Now, obviously, it's going to be all, whatever your discipline is. So for yours, behavioral health, we're going to see that here, but we can kind of see how the type of website it creates here. And so all of this content was written based on everything that they found inside of their Jane account. Physiotherapy, we're dedicated to offering helping you best with tailored treatments designed just for you. So some of you are going to look at this content and say, it's perfect. It's everything I need. Others of you might say, oh, I don't love that it's this holistic health approach. Let's adjust that for here. And then you can come in here. So what would that look like? So I'm just going to quickly peruse through a few different pages here so you can see what it spins up. Here's the About Us section. Again, it pulled in all these bios automatically. So there's the photo and the name and title and bio for each and every one of the practitioners here. Again, let's say Bradley next week were to choose to leave the practice and they pulled him off of Jane. His bio automatically comes off of the website, which is really nice. Over in the services area, you can actually see all the services that they offer within Jane got pulled in. And if we click into here, we can actually see a full page on every one of the services with a full description and the opportunity to book in with all of their different practitioners in that service. Again, if we
Wow.
keep going down here, we see their location and everything. So all of that got spun up. The crazy thing about this, I said that some people might just be like loving what they're seeing from day one. It is not uncommon now for us to show this to a practitioner for them to say, this is great. This is what I thought I was going to spend the next 2 months of my life building, and who knows how much money. And so
Mhm.
it's often they'll see this and say, "Can I launch this right now?" And the answer is absolutely yes. You can be launching your website 5 minutes from now, which is such a wild thought, especially when we think of where that technology came from so long ago. So
Mhm.
what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click. I'm going to pretend that I wanted to like move forward with this, and this. So this is what any of you can do. Just click Start Editing, and I'm just going to put in my personal information here. And at this point, you're not agreeing to anything in terms of like subscribing. You're just saying, "Yep, I'm setting up a free account. It's basically an unlimited trial where everyone can dive in and start going to it." And
Mhm.
what you'll do here is you're actually in now where you'll start to see all these little edit buttons pop up throughout the website. And so if there was anything you wanted to change, let's say I wanted to, sample with some different button colors here, it's actually also pulled in all of my Jane information. So what I can do here is say, I wouldn't mind a darker button there. And I wouldn't mind actually if this thing stretched full width right across here, that feels good. And I just want that to stand out a little bit more. So I'm just going to increase the height of it. So you can come in here and immediately start playing with it. You might say, I don't love this section here. I'm just going to pull that out. I don't love what it's saying. So we're just going to delete that block there. And so it's so easy to come in here and start playing with all the different sections. You might come in here and say, I want to put my own photo in here. Just edit the image and pop it out. And so it's very simple. But some of you might still be saying that that feels like too much. That feels like I don't even want to get to know how to make all those edits. The reality is you can book time with our team on an unlimited basis where we will be with you and help you every step of the way. So you can verbally just let us know what you're wanting to do and we'll walk you through the whole process and make all these changes with you until you get to a point where you say, yes, that represents me so well. That
Mhm.
website is a great reflection of my clinic and I'm ready to launch. And we'll help you with all the complicated parts as far as like updating your domain to change the website and all those pieces. So we're honestly, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm truly excited that we've taken something that might have otherwise felt so complex and hopefully made it feel very, very simple.
That is incredibly simple. As I, sit here and think about my own website for my practice, there was no way it was done in like under 2 minutes. Like, not even, and I get that there, I would probably have wanted to edit it had it been, through clinic sites. But I'm thinking, like, no, like, not in, 2 minutes, 5 minutes did I have something that was even ready for me to just go in and, put my edits in or my final touches on. That's incredible, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's super exciting. And it's like, again, it's wild too. I mentioned doing this for 17 years. Like the site I'm showing you, just
Yeah,
going back, this is just an excitement about technology, is like this literally would have taken us months to build back in the day. So the
of
fact that it's going to be
course.
that
Yeah.
fast is so fun.
Yeah. Exactly. Months for sure, right? And lots of money. Um, Now for therapists who, might be listening or watching and thinking, but I already have a website. How would you suggest that they assess whether it's time for an update?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple different ways to do that. One is there's tons of great tools out there, even if you kind of do website audit checker, things like that. There's lots of
Yeah.
great different tools out there where you can kind of run an assessment. Again, talking
Mhm.
to friends, family, and colleagues around it could be a great way to kind of make that assessment. I mean, our team would be very happy to do it if you're open to that. We'd love to kind of come
Mhm.
and give you an honest assessment. We are looking at thousands of clinic websites all the time. And so we would be able to
Mhm.
kind of let you know what some of the things that are working or maybe aren't working about your website. Maybe there's a couple little tweaks you can make to your site. And honestly, we're happy to help in any way we can. That's a big piece of, as many of your
Mhm.
listeners know, Jane, their whole process is just, their whole mission is just to help the helpers. And we've really
Mhm.
adopted that at Clinic Sites where we just want to be here to help you. So if you don't need a new website, we're not going to tell you to go build a new website. But, obviously, if there is this opportunity here where maybe we can take things that much further for you for hopefully very little time and very little money, that we can actually help you make that jump, we'd be happy to kind of have that conversation with you if that would feel helpful. But like I said, there's also lots of great tools available to find out how's my website doing as far as like conversion. Is everything set up optimally for conversion? How is it for accessibility, for making it so that people on not only all whether they have different challenges that they might not be able to browse the web the same. There's lots of great tools that help you see whether or not it's working for that. There's is how's the load speed, those kinds of things. There's so many
Right.
technical
Right.
pieces of that that you might just want to do a quick assessment, and there's some really great free tools out there that you can do that to really say, is this website doing everything it should be doing? Because again, back to that story, we don't know necessarily if it's working as well as it could for us.
Absolutely. As you're talking here, Matt, I'm thinking, we've talked about how expensive it can be, to build a website, how long it can be, months and months of time and all the rest. And I know earlier you mentioned that your goal at Clinic Sites was to make this accessible and, not as expensive. And so I'm not sure if you feel comfortable sharing a little bit about, like if somebody wants a website through Clinic Sites, like what, maybe just on average are they looking at in terms of investment?
Yeah, definitely. So, the one, again, really exciting part for us was we were actually able to, as part of this, waive any setup fee. So that's often kind of that upfront
Wow.
piece where you have to contact,
Mhm.
again, kind of a consultant or an agency, and they'll say, well, getting started is this, and there's some kind of, potentially multi-thousand-dollar cost to that. So we're actually waiving any setup fee, which is really exciting. So I mentioned that our team can help you. You can
Mhm.
actually come do this process, spin up a site, work with our team. You can meet with us 5 or 6 times, and even if you decide in the end you're like whether or not it doesn't feel like the right fit, that's okay. There's literally no cost to coming and trying it out. And if you decide to launch it, that's when
Mhm.
we kind of say, let's go. We're off to the races, and that's where we would activate a monthly hosting subscription, which is very standard in the website space.
Mhm.
Um, our pricing is $59 for anyone that's with Jane. If you're
Mhm.
not with Jane, it's a $79 a month hosting fee. And again, so where that differs from something you might see like Squarespace or Wix or other website providers out there is that we've really wanted to make sure we had built into that opportunity to just like really care for all of our customers. We think that, again, similar to Jane, that our customer support is really one of those pieces that sets us apart. So we wanted to make sure we had an incredibly helpful, friendly, technically able team here to help you every step of the way. And so I love that idea that you can always have the peace of mind that you can always reach out to us. We're always going to have someone who's awesome on the other side
Mhm.
of that call, whether that's through Zoom or phone or email or whatever it would be, however you want to kind of reach out to us. We're going to jump on there and help you with your problem. And so, yeah, so $59 a month, again, especially for everyone that's with Jane, has been super exciting to say. We can offer kind of what we consider to be this premium website service for that rate.
That's incredible, Matt. Like, I'm almost a little bit speechless here. As you're talking about, you can design the website, have conversations with people, get help getting things all set up. And then if you're with Jane, it's $59 a month. And
Mm,
something that you didn't mention, I hope it's okay that I do, is that if you are a member of the BYPP community, you can actually get your first month on us by using the code BYPP1MO. So you can set up your whole website, get all those questions answered, and actually get your first month of hosting on us.
mhm.
So, yeah, I'm super excited to be able to partner with you in that way, Matt. And yeah, I think this is amazing. Now, if you could give just one piece of advice to therapists who want a website that actually works for their practice, what would that be?
I think the biggest thing I would say, biggest like piece of advice to take would be to really think about your call to action buttons on your website.
Mm,
And with
mhm,
that, I would
mhm,
say that too often the opportunity to take that most important final step to book is buried somewhere. It's down on a sidebar. It's somewhere deep into the contact page. And one thing we've done with all of our website designs that I think I could never move away from is
Mhm.
making all of the opportunities to book now incredibly clear. So we always have it up in the top right corner, but not just that, we actually put it throughout the page because you don't know at which moment in the experience that visitor is going to say, you answered all my questions. I'm ready to go. This is great. And so
Mhm.
whenever that moment happens, you want a book now button to be right next to them, which by the
Yeah.
way probably does lead to another great point, which is set up online booking because we're all, again, for the sake of our time, trying to make it
Mhm.
as easy as possible for people. We're not looking to, make them leave a voicemail for us one evening and
Yeah.
we'll get back to them the next day. That moment of delay can be, again, we talked about kind of the urgency people feel when they're visiting a website. They might in the before that after that voicemail they might start going and looking at some other websites because they haven't actually completed the story yet. Their task was to go and get that dopamine hit of actually completing the task they had, and you didn't let them complete it, so they have to now go search for some other stuff just in case there might be someone else out there that they can book with. So setting up online booking, making it so easy to do by having those call to action buttons throughout the website, I think would be a strong recommendation.
I knew it was going to be tough for you to narrow it down to one piece of advice.
That's right, that's right, I had to go for a second in there.
That's okay. It's totally all right. Matt, thank you so much for sharing your insights and for walking us through this process and giving us this demo. I know for so many therapists, their website can feel like one of those someday projects that never gets fully finished or never fully works the way that they need it to. But you've really shown us how having the right website can make a huge difference in attracting clients and building a sustainable practice. So thank you so much for being here today.
You're so welcome. This has been awesome.
Yeah. Now, for anyone who wants to learn more about clinic sites and explore their website options, we're going to include a link in the show notes below. But again, it's clinicsites.co. And if this episode has helped to simplify or clarify something for you today, I'd love it if you'd share it with a colleague or leave us a quick review. It helps us reach even more mental health practitioners who need this kind of support. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, keep building a private practice that works for you. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Build Your Private Practice podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a fellow Canadian therapist who needs this. And remember, the work you do matters. Keep showing up, keep holding space, and keep building a practice that works for you. If you're looking for practical tools or support to grow your practice with more clarity and confidence, head to buildyourprivatepractice.ca. There's lots waiting for you there. I'll see you next time.